Your uni, your team. From kick-off to the final whistle. This is the Shock Radio Sports Show.
I'm going to go in now. Hello, welcome back. This is the Sports Show. Only Corey joining us today on what is quite a sad sports show, isn't it?
I know. Everyone's gone home for Christmas. That's what it is.
Yeah, everyone has gone home for Christmas, and this is the last one we're doing before Christmas. We will be back after Christmas, I hope. Valentine selector. Hopefully, the Wednesday 6 or 7 slot, but there actually been a lot going on this week in sport. A lot today as well.
Yep.
In new football. We'll be discussing all that, the same usual non-police of City, United, Salford, possible Salford. But we'll also cover uni sport, and then this is the last show of the year, sporting highlights of the year, and what we're looking forward to for next year to sport. Because there's some, even for the new year, there's some good stuff coming up. You've got a Tyson Fury fight coming up on December the 20th,
And first, yeah.
I believe. And yeah, we'll cover all that. We'll be ready for it, and you'll be the usual waffle, the usual mistakes, and all the rest.
Hopefully not.
No, you might not be there for my first show, but I turned the mics on, and I started speaking and didn't turn the mics on, which was quite funny.
Ooh.
Yeah, but should we start with Salford?
Sure.
Go on, do you want to fill us in on Salford?
So, Salford are being their usual selves at the minute, consistently inconsistent.
Yeah.
I would say.
Sounds like Salford, but you've got to silver line that with the fact that they are being battered with injuries.
Yep.
And they have been all season. Like, they've not had any striker. Oh yeah, Cole Stockton only just coming back from injury. But go on, tell us about Saturday. Just gone.
Well, Saturday's just gone. They've just lost to Gillingham away off the back of an FA Cup win and then a win against Harrogate in the league. So again, like I said, consistently inconsistent, really. They're now on what in the league? 6 wins, 6 draws, 6 losses?
Well, it is consistent.
It is.
Yeah.
You can't knock them.
No, you can't. And it's form that isn't going to get them relegated, which is a plus for League Two. It's probably the scrappiest division we've got in England.
It's definitely, well, I suppose all the leagues up and down England now are competitive throughout, but it's definitely, I would argue, probably the second hardest. It's the hardest division to get out of in the EFL, I think.
Yeah, it's the scrappiest division at both ends of the table. And in the middle, one win can take you to just outside the playoffs, and one loss can take you to just outside the relegation.
Exactly. I think we're stuck with Salford at the minute. If they can get their creative players in and around Cole Stockton and sort of tighten up at the back, I think they've conceded 19 goals so far this season and only scored 17. So, again, consistently inconsistent, if anything.
Yeah. Kelly Namai, I've been watching Salford a few times. Kelly Namai has stood out. He plays on that left wing-back position, sometimes the inside, like number 10 on the left. And I saw him in the FA Cup against Shrewsbury, our division above, and he was excellent. They were in behind Shrewsbury's right-back in the first half constantly, and that's where Salford were creating the most danger. And every other time I've seen him, he's been mint. Like, he's rapid, he's really technical, his dribbling's good. Like, for a League Two level, he's a really tricky fullback, really tricky winger who is going to be a handful for anyone, isn't he?
Well, that's the thing, innit? When you've got sort of one attribute in League Two that you are really good at, like pace, it can carry you through. I mean, like we said, Cole Stockton, if they can get him up and around Cole Stockton in the box, Ben Woodburn as well. He's quality for that league.
Ben Woodburn used to be in Liverpool's academy.
Exactly.
Was brilliant on FIFA 19 career mode. That's where I remember him from. If anyone watches Barfy Boy, he was brilliant on his Macclesfield career mode. But Salford have got a really nice group of players who collectively aren't pulling together but are playing nice things. Like, they're having some good results, but they're not stringing the results together. Would that be fair to say?
Definitely, yeah. I mean, 6 and 6 wins, draws and losses would definitely imply that. I mean, like we said, if they just get the creative players up and around Cole Stockton in the box, because he's a proven goal scorer, he's shown that he can do it and catch fire and score 20 plus goals in a league campaign if you get the right players up and around him.
Yeah, perfect. I think Salford under Carl Robinson. I like Carl Robinson as well. I think that should be said, that he's a manager who has got a clear ideology, which is a clear thing that's needed nowadays in football. But at the same time, you can see what he wants from his players, where he wants to go with it, and why he's doing it as well. Like, they play a 3-5-2 system most of the time, or a 3-4-3, and it helps them to be both solid in defence and solid in attack, because they can attack with 5, defend with 5, if not more, 7 on either side. And he loves to use young players, which is something, as a United fan, I think it's great. I think if there's clubs like Salford aren't giving young players a chance, then what is the point? What is the point? You've got to, like, he debuted, I'm sorry, I forgot the name, he debuted a 15-year-old in the FA Cup. And to me, that is brilliant.
But especially with the catchment area that Salford's in. I mean, you've got Man City and Man United round the corner, Liverpool and Everton aren't that far away, and then even clubs higher up the leagues like
you make a great
like
point.
Bolton's and Wigan's and Preston's and Blackburn's.
I'm from Bolton. Bolton have a really good academy. A couple of good players going through it. There's some good level non-league teams as well around here, like AFC Fylde aren't that far away. Everton Coles, who don't have an academy as such and aren't in non-league yet, but aren't that far off it. And
Rochdale, Oldham.
Yeah, you see, like Salford are doing quite well to bring through a nice crop of young players, and even if they're signing them. But at the same time, it must be said that they have got the financial backing of Gary Neville and all the rest.
It does help, doesn't it?
And then Peter Lim. Yeah, it does help. And I'll ask you this then. Would it be fair to say that Salford have underachieved since the class of 92 and Peter Lim took over?
Oh, I think... Oh, that's a tough one. I think from where they picked them up, you can't really say that. But in terms of pushing on and getting up to League One, I think if you'd have asked Gary Neville and the like, when they first picked up Salford, where do you see Salford in the next 15, 20 years, they'd have said League One, Championship level. So they are on the right trajectory. It's just they seem to have hit a stumbling block in League Two.
Yeah, from where they picked them up, they weren't even in non-league, were they? They were. I think it'd be fair to say they were just languishing in the tiers of English football, not achieving much, but not also underachieving. And I think that'd be fair to say. But if you'd ask Gary Neville now, if he's happy with where Salford are, I think he'd say no.
Yeah, well, they've got the infrastructure now. Things like the stadium have been massively improved. Those were sort of where a lot of the finances would have had to have go early doors. But now that they've got that, they will want to kick on. I think the appointment of Carl Robinson will screams volumes of that.
It must be said, it's a nice stadium. I think it's a cold stadium, especially this time of year. But for like fans, they've got a nice little fan zone, good like beverage stands and all the rest. Toilets are in good nick, which for English football is quite
a privilege.
Yeah. The away end's nice, and at both ends behind the goals they've got safe standing, which is only a positive. It creates a better atmosphere. A lot of tickets from when I've been have gone to young kids, young lads and girls, which is again a good thing, because another point of what they're doing is they're making football accessible. Which, if we touch on United slightly, we're gonna move on to them. £66. Have you seen that recently?
Ridiculous.
Yeah,
it is ridiculous. They were chanting. This is the thing, right? They've just appointed Ruben Amorim. They're sort of embarking on this like new journey, and the fans in the stands are chanting about the price of tickets.
But I think it's justified.
Definitely, yeah.
£66. So if you don't know, United sell out the majority of their tickets to season ticket holders and people with memberships, and the remaining ones that don't get sold, they say there's 3%. So these 3% are being sold for £66. So there's no tariff. Say you're a 50-year-old lad and you go with your mates, you pay £20. That's gone now. You have to pay £66. They're getting rid of that, which is a lot.
Instead of backing this new, fresh idea on the pitch, they're having to shout about off-the-pitch problems again, which has been such a problem for United in the last, what would you say, 15, 20 plus years?
Yeah.
During Fergie, the Glazers weren't.
It's easy to say that United haven't been mismanaged because they get money chucked at them, but United spend money, sorry. No money's been chucked at them yet. And since 2005 the Glazers took over, there's been financial mismanagement, and you're seeing it now. Like, obviously there's going to be cost cutting, and every club's doing it. But it's stuff like they got rid of the Christmas party for the staff, and I'm a United fan. I'm looking at it and going, really? You're getting rid of a Christmas party? How much cost cutting is that going to save? They got given £100 bonus, which, say what you want for Manchester United, might not be a lot, but it's something. They've got rid of that. What do you get instead? Like a £40 M&S voucher.
Well, they laid off a load of staff, didn't they? And then a few months later, they spent £5 million. It's now come out on Dan Ashworth, and he's done 5 months at the club, and they've sacked him already.
Yeah.
So you can talk about cost cutting, but spending £5 million to get a director of football out of Newcastle and then sacking him 5 months later. I think Eric Ten Hag, it cost him about 15 million to sack.
Yeah, United are in a position where there's not a great load of like money because of how much we're spending. There's a load of money coming in because of how much we're spending. It equates to not a lot is actually made as profit. So there's loads of cost cutting, but surely what Jim Ratcliffe's doing in cost cutting is worth less than the goodwill of the staff.
Yeah, 100%.
It seems to me that like the soul of the club. I'm a United fan. We all like to think that our club stand for something, but like you think United, we stand for something, and it just seems to be sort of going downhill. Really, like on the pitch. Say what you want about that. I think the infrastructure is now in place where that can get sorted out. But it's the stuff that the fans and like the staff they're the ones who actually really matter. And
even the match going fan, you've got a leaky roof, sort it out.
Yeah,
Just get it fixed.
His comments about the women's team, it came out this week, have not gone down well. He said that Manchester United's men's team have sort of just lacked, and it's fair to say, and it's true, have just been mediocre for the best part of a decade now. And he said that the women's team aren't the priority. But the same could be said about the women's team. The women's team had a really good crop of young players, combined with like good experience, like Mary Earps, 30 years old now, good experienced goalkeeper who moved on. Ella Toon's still there, came through the academy, but there's been others who have left, like Katie Zellen, the captain, gone. I forget her name, gone to Arsenal.
Alessia Russo.
Yes, that's the one. Thank you, Corey.
But you look at the reasons why they left as well. Mary Earps in the summer said that she left Man United because they were making her get changed in like a Porter thing. And
it just seems to be big.
They're not asking for a lot.
No,
a changing room ain't asking for a lot at all.
It's not, and yeah, it's just mismanagement everywhere really. And you look at should we touch on Saturday's result? Bit of mismanagement there. 3-2 loss to Nottingham Forest. I watched the first half at home. I thought it was terrible, to be totally honest. There's obviously a plan which has been lacked. Erik ten Hag, who got sacked, has been accused of not having. But the plan seems to be there, but the players just were awful. Did you watch the game?
Yeah, the squad doesn't suit the system. But then, what is Ruben Amorim supposed to bend his system for a year or two before players get brought in that can actually play it? You've hired him for a reason. It's like he said when he first came in himself. You're gonna have to go through pain before it gets any better. Like the likes of Xerxes aren't brought in to play in a 3-4-3, but he's just gonna have to deal with it.
It wasn't even that for me. It was we were just so like playing hot potato, especially in our own half. And you see, was it their third goal? Bruno back heels at Euro, who he's backing it to, runs on, thinking he's gonna play at the other side of him, and Forest score from it. And it's like, what are we actually doing? Like, Are we just being thick for thick's sake here? It was daft. I think that sums United up for probably the past couple of years, if not the past decade and a bit. It has just been daft with moments of individual brilliance.
But it's funny really because the one thing that Erik ten Hag arguably tried to bring into Man United when he got rid of De Gea for Onana was playing it out from the back, and out of the teams that do it, I think there's probably only Southampton that are worse than you actually trying it. I
think to be fair to Onana, he's surrounded with players that you look at that defence. You've got who started. You got Yoro, Dullet, and Martinez who started at the weekend. And Martinez is good on the ball, playing that left-hand channel, but he's passing it to Mazraoui, who is also good. But then you look in the midfield. You've got Ugarte, who is grown on me, I'll admit, but is a bit of a hot potato himself. Bruno Fernandes, another one who loves the luxury pass. And then you've got Kobbie Mainoo as well in that midfield, who is quite good, to be fair. Who keeps on to it well. But then Dullet, I wouldn't say he's amazing on the ball. I think he's good, and he does what Amorim wants. If you look at his pass maps, which I have done, his pass map for a central centre half matches what they were doing at Porto. And then Yoro, he's the same age as us, and you can't really judge that. So it was one of them. Onana had one of his worst games in a while. Onana has been really good this year, and he's gone under the radar because we've been, for lack of a better word, terrible. But yeah,
he just lets himself down in big moments. Onana for me, I think he's all right for now, sure, considering the state that you're in. I mean, you're 13th, but when you start pushing for titles, I think there's too many occasions in which he has a howler, and it will cost you 3 points, and then suddenly, I mean, the standard that City and Liverpool and Arsenal have set recently, Onana makes a howler, you drop a point, and suddenly you're out of a title race.
Onana was bad in the Champions League run last year, but
Yeah.
he's been quite good in the league since then, and I think he's not getting attention for that. He's quite high in the clean sheets. I'm not 100% sure where. He was top last time I checked. But Manchester City at the weekend. We'll touch on that game in a minute, but should we talk about Manchester City now?
Yeah, sure. I'll happily talk about this downfall. I'm not gonna lie.
It's also the hearing. Was it on Monday? The hearing for the 150 charges finished.
They've not put out the result.
No,
have they?
the result won't be out until probably February.
Yeah.
And even after February, I imagine they'll be in court again for maybe another year and a half.
Yeah, because they said that both sides have a right to an appeal, don't they?
It'll be appealed, contested, and I'd imagine if the Premier League win or lose, they'll come out with more charges dating previous.
But they already have, haven't they? Apparently, it's now up to 130.
Yeah, but then I don't think they're being charged with them now.
No, that'll probably be at a later date.
So City hadn't won in. Was it 6 or 7 when they played Forest in the middle of the week?
It was 7 without a win, 6 losses.
Yeah, 7 without a win, 6 losses, 1 draw in that time. They played Forest and won 3-0 at home. It was quite a good performance. And then they went away to Crystal Palace on Saturday.
And it all fell
apart again. Yeah, we can laugh at it, but it's quite bad. Like 1 win in 8 for a Manchester City team. That's unheard of. Unheard
You've
of.
got Juventus tonight, so it gets no easier.
No, and yeah, Juventus under Allegri are in brilliant form. Have they lost in Serie A yet? I'll check that. But go on, do you want to tell us about Palace whilst I check?
Palace were solid. I think you've got to give them flowers. I think Will Hughes with 2 great assists. That corner was a great ball, and the first ball was great as well. But again, it's just City losing midfield battles with no Rodri. I think like when I came on here for the first time, I said it's more than Rodri, and it definitely is. But the fear factor is gone. I said that.
Would you say it's a psychological factor?
That's definitely part of it. 100%.
Rodri is obviously their most talented player. It might not be their best player, but he's their most talented. And do you think, as spectators, we buy into the fact that it is Rodri and Rodri is such a big deal? But do you think the players buy into that as well?
Oh, definitely. I think the issue for City is they've lost Rodri in the past and they've lost, and then they've lost Rodri again for a prolonged period, and suddenly they've lost and they've lost and they've lost, and they're sort of getting in that headspace of, can we do this without Rodri? Probably. That definitely will creep in, but I mean, I think it's a combination of Rodri. Also, they're an ageing squad. They're one of the oldest squads in the Premier League. I think the thing with Kevin De Bruyne years ago, if you're a midfielder of an opposition team, you look at De Bruyne and you are terrified. You scared beyond belief.
Even did they sign him in 2016 and he was ravaged by injuries a little bit then?
Yeah.
But you could sort of accept the injuries for the fact that come April, he will win you that league title.
Yeah.
Whereas now,
but if you're a midfielder now, you look at him, you go, all right, you've got all the quality in your right boot that I will never possess, but I will run you into the ground. Over a 90-minute match, I will just outrun you, and that will do.
I think you raise the point of an aging squad. It's not one that's been a narrative that's like been pushed in the media, but the debate, the Fergie Pep debate for the best Premier League manager is Pep inherits these squads and just builds on them. Fergie took that squad in '86, and it's a different squad by the first league title. Then by '94, it's a different squad. Then by '99, then 2003, it's a completely different squad. Then 2008 years, then his last title in 2013. And Pep has had the chance to do that. But Pep starts in 2016, am I right?
I believe so, yeah. It might be 15, but yeah.
He starts then he wins the league title next year, and it's a winning run from then. And I think he's added to that squad, but there's been no open heart surgery, I think that's fair to say, where he's got rid of like 4 or 5 players and replaced them with young and up-and-coming players. And I think that's this summer. City didn't really spend last summer, and they didn't spend the year before, did they? Much. No. I think that'd be fair to say.
No, not by the usual standard.
No, because when Pep first came in, they wouldn't spend like the 100 million on Jack Grealish that they have done recently. But it was like they'd pick up John Stones for 40 million, Kyle Walking for 40
9
million.
different fullbacks, all for 40 million apiece.
Yeah, I think if we're giving Pep credit, I think tactically he's superb. And the subtle changes from wingers and fullbacks were the thing. From 2017, when Trent sort of came on the scene, to about COVID, wingers and fullbacks were the thing. Then when Klopp sort of tailed off and Arteta's come on, it's 4 defenders who invert are the thing now. And we're coming back to the era of, I think we're swinging back to wingers as we combined with like old-fashioned strikers. If you look in the Premier League, everyone copies Pep across the pyramid. But if you look in the Premier League especially, big strikers who are good in the air, but also good with the ball at the feet are the thing now. You look at Haaland. Obviously, he's big and he can finish, but he can't do much more than that. Isaac's another one. Hoyland.
Chris Wood.
Chris Wood, yeah. Nicholas Jackson.
Yeah.
And I think that's where you give Pep credit. But
I mean, you look at the best players in the league as well. Mo Salah, wide player. Cole Palmer, midfielder who drifts out wide. If anything, these midfielders are wanting to go into wide spaces
midfielders
to affect games.
Everyone's a midfielder now, I think I'd say.
To a degree, yeah.
You've
got to have the technical ability of one, or you'll get found out.
Yeah, I think you've got to now.
Yeah.
If you want the perfect footballer now, it's got to be a midfielder who is an athlete. Like, can either do the sprints of like a 100-metre sprinter, or can do like the endurance running.
Yeah.
And I think that's what they need. But we'll spin it back round to Pep and City. What have they got to do to get a result on Sunday? Because this United team are bad. Like, the bad. I watch them week in, week out. They're bad. But like, look at the FA Cup. They can throw up a result every now and again.
I think it's a tough one. They've got to just the mojo in it. Like, how do you get back once losing becomes a habit? How do you swing it back that way? And that's why that Forest result, you think, all right, okay, they can go on now.
That's what good managers do. It
is.
This is the first time he's faced this in his career. We are on like unprecedented territory for Pep here and City. Like, they've not done this since the mid 2000s. I'm not a manager. I don't understand how he does it, because you look at the factors of his only striker that he's got isn't really scoring. He's got an ageing squad. His best player's out injured, and it's little things like Kyle Walker's lost his pace, and John Stones is hit and miss now. Key players who would just stand up from, and Gundogan is not the same player as when he left.
No way. I think the same. I think you look at players who, in this sort of low point for them, City are considering they're good players. They're like consistently decent performers. I'm hearing all this talk about like Savio. He's not scored. He's not scored a goal. Like, what do you mean? All right, he might look good and he might do like fancy takedowns when the ball's dropping out the air, but he's not scored for them. Riyad Mahrez, you're in that Crystal Palace game. Riyad Mahrez back in the day just bangs one in the back of the net. Prime Gundogan sticks one in the back of the net. De Bruyne sticks it in the back of the net. Aguero sticks it in the back of the net. And they're just not doing that. And when they do that, and they score 2 against Palace, they can't keep it out.
No. You've got Juventus now, as you said. Juventus are unbeaten, but they've won 6 and drawn 9, which isn't... It's not a good side for a Juventus team that's battered in this Italy for the past couple of years. But what do you think that game gives us tonight? And where do you think that leaves City come Sunday?
I think it's similar again. I think City will try and control the game, but they've not got the midfield for it. They've not got the legs, Gundogan, De Bruyne. They just can't run midfields anymore. People like Thuram, like the legs they've got will just outdo them, and they'll probably concede a couple goals. All right, they might score 1, maybe 2, but they'll leak goals at the back.
All right, Sunday then. It's the big game in Manchester every year. United are in terrible form, but so are City. Do you think a 3-4-3 will be an issue for an ageing midfield? Because you chuck Ugarte in there, who's a bit of a pocket rocket. The first game he fully started for United, I think he put in 9 tackles and made 5 fouls and didn't pick up a card. And no matter what that does for the home team, that's hard to deal with. To get a bit of consistency in play. What do you think the game holds from on Sunday?
Again, I only see defeat for City.
You think United win?
I think
Corey.
I think so. I genuinely think so. I can't see past City's problems in midfield. Mateus Nunes is on the left wing. Rico Lewis obviously got a red card. Will he be back for the United game? He won't, will he?
No, he won't, because
he'll be suspended. So I've got Guardiola seems scared of playing Kyle Walker exposed on his own. So
I think that's fair though.
Playing Rico Lewis in front of him every game. He doesn't trust Lewis as a right back on his own. He doesn't trust Walker as a right back on his own. So he's playing both of them. So I don't know who's going to start on the right hand side of midfield to protect Walker this time.
Well, I think it'd be fair to say that Pep would want to pick a new player, but these Stereophonics with Pick a Part That's New. And that was Pick a Part That's New by Stereophonics. One of my favourite songs at the minute, to be fair. Me and Corey have just discovered we do have the same music taste. We've also discussed in the break about exams. We want to talk about where I am up to with my exam at the minute. Corey's above the word count, but what we will discuss is favourite sporting highlight of the year. It's been a good year for sport. We've had an Olympics. Always a good year. All right, this is my highlight. I'll start. When the Olympics were on, we just finished A-level, so I watched quite a bit of it. And I stumbled upon canoe cross. What is canoe cross, you ask? So do you know the rapids on normal canoeing where they have to go around obstacles and bollards and it's time trialled? So canoe cross is that. But if you're watching on Shock TV, which is on YouTube, and it'll be uploaded tomorrow if you go and watch, you'll be able to see what I'm animating here. So they start on a platform, and there's 4 of them, right? And this platform edge just drops down and drops them in. And they could be dropped on the side or whatever, and they've just got to get to the bottom as fast as possible. And it's the top 2 that go through. It's mint. Honestly, I know all sports are competitive, but it's so competitive because they just all get their elbows out.
Just start bashing each other.
Yeah, genuinely.
Oh, that's quite good, that.
Give it a Google. In a minute.
I'm going to do that.
Yeah, that was my sport now because it was a new sport. It was new to the Olympics. It was new to the Olympics this year as well. And I was watching it. I watched it every day it was on. It was mint. I was loving it.
That's quite good, that.
Yeah.
That's just like 90s football in a canoe.
Yeah, just elbows out. No one's getting past me. And it's on like the rapids, and the rapids, well, it speaks for themselves. They're not slow or calm.
They're rapid.
Yeah.
Some would say
they're rapid. But I really enjoyed that. I thought the Olympics in a whole was quite good. Britain did quite well. Some good stories as well. Leon Marchand, the French swimmer, if you'd caught any of the swimming, he swept up for France, which was quite nice. Some of the road cycling was good. I watched some of that. I'm just trying to think. What else?
Keely Hodgkinson, 800
yeah,
metres.
obviously. Yeah,
she's from where I'm from, so
yeah,
big up her
Atherton.
for that one.
Are you from Atherton?
Well, Wigan.
Oh, yeah.
Wycombe, Atherton. Only because it produces most sports people at this point that come near us.
No one's going to understand this if you're not from like Bolton or Atherton or Wigan. Atherton's just sort of like in between and exists.
We claim it.
Wigan claim it, yeah, but it sort of just doesn't go to any really, because it's not like Wigan's miles away from Atherton and it's miles away from Bolton as well. It's just some weird like sort of in between.
Well, we're having it. She trains in Wigan.
Yeah.
So we're having it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, Keely Hodgkinson was great. Tom Daly competed for the last time. Am I right in saying that?
Yes, he did.
Yes. So the swimming was good. The coverage for the swimming is always good. But Claire Balding had that to a T this year, and I thought it was great. Go on. What was your sporting highlight of the year?
I am a huge boxing fan, so Usyk Fury for me was the pinnacle. As soon as he started getting battered from pillar to post, swinging round the ring, not knowing where he was, I was screaming in my living room.
Well, we had seen Fury get battered, but we'd seen him get up. We've not seen him get battered and not know what to do. I think
he's took one punch and gone down and got up. He hasn't taken 20 punches after the other, dancing around the ring, not knowing what day of the week it was. I mean, he said, what was it? He said Happy New Year as soon as the fight had finished. He said Happy New Year into the microphone.
The microphone after the fight wasn't Fury's best moment. I think that's fair to say.
Definitely not.
All right then. December 21st. It's a Saturday night. Fury Usyk 2 for the championship, for the World Championship again. Which one it is, I don't know, because boxing's titles are a bit backwards at the minute. Which way do you think that's going to go?
Usyk.
Again?
I've got him again. Yeah. I think Fury's got it will show how much he wants it. And I'm sure he does. I'm not doubting Tyson Fury's desire to win the fight, but this will show just how much he actually cares. He's claimed in interviews he doesn't care about his legacy and he just wants to fight for the sake of being a fighting man and all that. Yeah. But this will show how much he really cares, because for me, he's got to go in there and he's got to throw everything at Usyk in the first 6 rounds and he's got to knock him out.
Yeah, I think Usyk will outgas him. Fury will gas within the first 6 or 7.
If Usyk makes it out of round 6...
It's Usyk's fight to lose.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
I will say this about Tyson Fury. In the nicest way possible, I don't want the man to batter me. Him and his family do a lot of talk, whereas we're 10 days away from the fight now, and I've heard nothing from any of them.
Oh, he's given up. He knows he can't get in Usyk's head.
And I even that, but I just think John Fury, as his dad, is a proper character. Always got a lot to say, and I just think they're taking it a bit more serious. Like, there's no daft comments. There's nothing being said that's not airable on Shock Radio, like there has been in the past.
Oh, definitely.
And I just think he's taking it a bit more serious. I think Usyk will win it. I'm not a boxing expert, but I think he will. I think it'll be a good fight though. I think boxing's been a bit up and down recently with there's loads of different belts and championships aren't being put on the line even though fights are going ahead. And you saw over the summer Dubois won. Good result. Was it over the summer? Or was it September?
No, it was September. I went.
Sorry. Did you go?
Yeah.
To Wembley? Go on, tell us how that was then.
Well, the crowd in boxing typically are quite flippy-floppy. Like, they'll go with who's winning. So it was a lot of that. Wembley, walkouts, Dubois was getting booed to the high heavens.
But he's English.
Joshua was getting cheered beyond belief. Soon as Dubois knocks him down 4 times in about a minute, suddenly Dubois is the hero.
I was working on that fight. Well, I wasn't working at Wembley. I was working in a bar that showed the fight. I went into the other room that it was on, and there was about 7 people in there and the boss, and it was great. It was a good fight to watch. Like, the underdog, Dubois, who I think it's fair to say has had to work his way up. He's not been given any opportunity. He's had to work for every single one, and he was the better fighter. Joshua Fury, that's a big question mark. Do you think that's ever going to happen? Next year or not? If Fury loses in 10 days' time on December 21st...
Then it's on.
I don't...
But it's on in terms of...
It's on.
It used to be on in like, Battle of Britain, who's the best heavyweight in the world. Now it's on in like, who's like 4th best.
It's on in the fact that it's going to take place in Saudi Arabia. They're both going to earn like 50 million, and then Fury will 100% retire, and Joshua will probably have one more fight against Dubois. And if he loses that, Joshua's done. And then that's British boxing's modern day, like, in the past couple of years, like, I say resurgence, as if we haven't had, like, Ricky Hatton and all the rest recently. But, like, the most recent success of British boxing over, I think that's fair to say.
Yeah, well, Riyadh's season since it started has been really good. I mean, the undercards for some of the headline fights are ridiculous. I mean, Beterbiev and Bivol are going to rematch, and Dubois on the undercard, which is ridiculous. But for me, if Usyk loses to Fury and Fury wins, I can't see the Joshua fight ever happening. Because Fury will just leverage that over Joshua and be like, you can't beat Dubois, I beat Usyk, I'm clearly better than you and I don't need to prove it.
But then should Fury not fight Dubois? Or would that be...
I don't think he'll care enough. There's not enough money in it for him. There's more money in a Joshua fight, even if he beats Usyk. Because Dubois doesn't have that same, like, pull.
All right, well, I actually... We're obviously fantasy booking boxing here. Fury beats Usyk in the end of December, and Joshua beats Dubois whenever that rematch is. Come this time next year, if both of them things happen, which I think are fairly unlikely, do you reckon we end up with a Fury-Joshua title fight to unify the titles?
Yes. Then it's back on in terms of the British boxing, like, best in the world. But this is what I mean, it's so flippy-floppy.
But would they be the best in the world?
I don't think so. I still think even if Fury beats Usyk, I think more often than not Usyk would beat Fury. But if he knocks him out with a right hand and Joshua knocks out the bar, then all of a sudden they're back on the top, aren't they? So it's just the way it goes, unfortunately. Heavyweights for you.
Yeah, it is heavyweights. I think it'd be fair to say the second. I've forgotten the words here. The second plug for the next song's coming, and it's going to be a bad one because these boxers are going to have fists made of stone. Hello, and welcome back to the sports show. This is the last one. Quite sad, isn't it, Corey?
Yeah.
Well, it's not the last one. I think it's the last one before Christmas. And
well, unless you get the Tic Tac over Christmas.
The Tic Tac?
The sack.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Straight over his head. And that's why he's getting the sack.
Yeah. He's gone. But, yeah, it's the last one before Christmas, so we're just trying to make it a little bit different. I've completely forgot what we were meant to cover.
Do you want to do what's going on next year in sport?
Yeah, we can do... Yeah, that was it. What's for the rest of the year? So we've done Fury Usyk. That's the big sporting event, but on Sunday the darts starts. The darts is... It's the festive Christmas sport, innit? It in recent years, with the rise of popularity of, like...
Especially last year.
Well, yeah, but even the year before, it kicked off on the final when we had as Wayne Mardle put it, the most perfect leg of darts ever.
Yep.
Where it was 17 perfect darts between 2 players. And then last year and early this year it was mental. The lad's younger than us.
And he made every man in this nation buy a darts board.
Yeah, that's the best way to put it. There's a dartboarding atmosphere, right? And I 100% will say this. There's holes in that wall because of people who watch Luke Littler.
Oh, definitely. People definitely picked up darts for the first time.
Luke
I know I did.
Oh, good. I played darts before it, not for long, for about 18 months before it, and good. Like, it's what we want. I play in a darts league, and the more teams, the better. The more players, the better. Because my darts league has run from September, and I think I'm done in March, which is terrible. That, like, the more teams, the better, and the more players, the better, because we're ending up with a better quality, and it's a tougher competition. Like, there's good amateur players now who average 80, but that's not enough to get you professional. And there are lads like 12-year-old. There's a lad called Jaden who played on the Modus with Angry Ginge, Salford legend.
Oh yeah, I've seen this
The other week.
Yeah, I've seen this.
He took out 145. The lad's 12 years old. He's tiny. Like he's struggling to reach double top to get his dart on the board. That's how small he is. And he just hitting them the scores.
So Luke Littler's getting on now, isn't he? Then, if a 12-year-old can do that.
Luke Littler, who getting gone. New lads on the block.
He's aging.
There's loads of young good darts players who are rivaling some of like the old guard. Like you've seen Steve Beaton retire this year, and Steve Beaton's not been hitting the heights that he has done for probably 20 years now. But you look at Luke Littler, Gene Van Veen, Wessel Nyman, some good players putting up. Oh, we'll speak of daft averages. The group at the Grand Slam, Stephen Bunting, Gene Van Veen, Wessel Nyman, that averaged 106 between them across.
That's a joke, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a joke. 106 between them. The lowest average, and it was a winning average, was 99. Wessel Nyman went out of the group with no wins and averaged 107 himself. And you're like, if he's doing that losing, what's he doing winning?
Yeah. Luke Littler's pinging like 110s, 120s every now and then, innit? And it's just like, what? It's not his free.
Luke Littler's doing it on the telly, which is one thing.
Yeah.
There's a lot more floor tournaments which your armchair fan, darts fan doesn't know about. Gary Anderson, 2-time world champ, fallen off a little bit, I think that'd be fair to say, but he's been doing it on the floor. He's had more 110 plus averages than Littler this year on the floor, and I think he'd be many people's favourites that aren't Luke Littler or Luke Humphries this year. With some of his form, it's been excellent, and what he's been doing, he's not won every Pro Tour. He's won a Euro Tour this year for the first time in over a decade, and his form on TV hasn't been good. I think that's fair to say, but it's promising. We've discussed darts in here before, but we're closer to it now. It starts on Sunday, kicks off. It's going to be one hell of a Sunday for me. United, then darts, and a curry.
And a curry. Treating yourself.
Oh, treating myself. Oh, we're digressing here. This is a sports show, but I am going to tell you my curry order now.
Oh, here we go.
Mixed starter. We will have chicken tikka masala, or maybe a lamb masala, because my brother will get something like a lamb rogan josh or something daft or a madras, and I'll be like, right, I'm having some of that. We'll get some pile rice, some naan bread, some chips, Bombay potatoes or sagaloo, and then poppadoms, of course, poppadoms.
They'll come free.
No, they're not free. They're like 75p a poppadom.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Per poppadom? That is ridiculous. It's gone woke.
It's just a big crisp. But if you put up one poppadom in a bag of crisp, if you swapped one poppadom for a bag of Watsits, I think you get the same. If that makes sense. Like, yeah. I think one poppadom is the same as like a bag of crisp and a bag of crisp. Find me a bag of crisp that's not like Tangy Toms for 75p nowadays.
Fair enough.
Please.
Well, you eat a load of that order and you'll end up looking like a darts player.
I already do look like a darts player. I've just hidden it through this lovely top, as you can see if you watch on YouTube, and I'm going to plug it again on Shock TV, and you can find many other lovely broadcasts, can't you, Corey?
Yep. All via Salford. I don't know what you wanted me to say there. We've gone from curry to the radio in seconds.
This is the last sports show. We've covered all the sport around here, and we've covered what we wanted to do. But we sort of just digressing. We've got 7 minutes left.
Well, you've mentioned Gary Anderson. Who else is like a strong favourite in your eyes for the darts? You can't look past the Lukes. That's my logic. Whoever wins in that, is it a semi-final that they'll meet in?
Yeah, whoever wins that wins it.
Yeah, is the likely scenario.
Darts is so competitive though at the minute.
Yeah.
We've had so many new. It's been Dan Dawson said it on commentary. It's been the year of the underdog this year. So many new first-time winners. You had Mike Dedeker beating Humphreys in a final, which hasn't happened since Humphreys started winning. You've had... oh my God, my mind's gone blank. I'm picturing both their faces right now.
Picturing a Curry.
Jermaine, I'm not picturing a Curry. Jermaine Watamina getting to a final against Richie Edhouse at the European Championships, and like both first-time finalists, both putting in brilliant performances, and like it's been a good year for that. So I think you can't look past the two Lukes and MVG. They're your big three.
It would be very MVG to just turn up and absolutely blow everyone away, wouldn't it?
This is the first year in a while that MVG's not won a big one on telly.
Which means he's going to be up for it.
Well, which means the beginning of the next year he ticks that box and doesn't let it happen again. But I think them three are your top tier. Like they're the bookies odds that are not going to be good. You stick a fiver on them and your odds aren't good. But I also think you put in a tier below them. You put in Rob Cross, Gary Henderson, Gerwyn Price, Michael Smith, all past champions. Rob Cross has been going under the radar this year, but he's been doing some brilliant stuff. And then I think under that you have your Nathan Aspel, Chris Dobies, Joe Cullens, even chucking like Weston Iman, Gian Van Veen, and I think some of them players would be in that, I say tier, in exclamation marks. I think it'd be harsh to them because some of the stuff that's been going on the floor has been great. And like even you look at some of the international qualifiers, Lawrence Ilagan's been going to the PDC, the World Championships, for a couple of years now. Been a little bit of a tricky partner, like as a player. He's a bit of an oddball. But some of the American players, the return of my favourite American player, the Soldier. Oh, he's so good.
Am I being stupid? I don't know who this is.
The Soldier. You don't know?
No.
No. Leonard Gates, man. Leonard Gates.
I'm clearly not this wired into darts to know who that is.
Leonard Gates is an American darts player who can't do maths. So he's
that's good. That's famously a really good attribute to have when playing darts.
I say he can't do maths. Like his combinations aren't the routine way. Like he's left himself.
Maybe he's just weird.
Well, maybe. But he spells soldier SOLGER or JER.
So he's an oddball.
Yeah.
So he probably can do the maths.
Yeah.
He just goes weird ways.
He's danced on stage, and I think anyone who dances on stage is quite funny. He's just funny. Watch out for him.
Peter Wright.
Oh, not Peter Wright.
No, not a Peter Wright fan.
I'm not a Peter Wright fan.
Good, because neither.
I feel sorry for him over the last 2 years because his darts have been
terrible.
Like they have been really bad.
The Premier League was an embarrassing.
You've got to feel for him with that because that was it was quite embarrassing.
Yeah, it was literally just get up on stage and go out in the first round every week and call it a day.
Yeah. Go on, who's your pick apart from the two Lukes and probably MVG? I think if you hate.
So take everyone good away from me. Who do I think could win?
Yeah, but we all know it's going to be one of them three, and if it's not one of them three, I'll come back after Christmas, and I will do the next broadcast in a dart stop. If it's not one of them three, I'll come back after Christmas and do the broadcast in a dart stop. We'll shake. You'll see this on camera.
Oh, this is terrible. There we go.
We have just shook hands, yeah.
Right. Other than the Lukes and MVG, like you said, Gary Anderson's got to be up there. I quite like Asp.
I like Aspinall.
I don't know whether it's because I like him and
He's
he's got a
from
good walk-on
Stockport as well.
song. He is.
Good walk-on song goes a long way.
It does.
Well, what does make a good darts player? I think a nice throw, bit of a character, a little bit daft, but good walk-on song tops that.
And not taking the mick and being really slow. Who's the Belgian bloke? Van den Berg.
Oh, Dimmy Van den Berg, yeah.
Oh, painful to watch.
Allegedly, darts players don't drink, but
I'm not having it.
But Rob Porter of the PDC, they do. Dimmy is very drunk every time he plays because he looks terrible. You'll see on the first game he plays, whenever that is over Christmas, he will say some outrageous things on the mic and possibly grab the mic out of the reporter's hand like he did last year, which was quite funny. But yeah, he gets levered, so he's either really fast or really slow because and I get it playing darts against anyone, my mates, whatever. Your nerves just go. But
yeah.
Who are you saying? The Asp?
I'll go with Gary Anderson. Outside shout, Asp.
I think it's respectable, really. I think whatever happens, it's going to be going to be a good World Championship because you've got multiple people who can win it. You've got loads of major champions now. It's not just the same people sweeping them up. And darts is in a good, healthy place. And come the new year, even this World Championship might decide the Premier League. And say you have a newcomer who runs all the way to the semis or even the final again. They could be shoe-on into the Premier League straight away.
They could be.
I hope so, because I think the Premier League would be great if we just chucked in. If we just chucked in, I say some randomers as if we're chucking in like Billy and Bob from the pub, but just chuck in like players who aren't winning much. Like, no offense to Stephen Bunting, not really winning much. Chuck him in because he's actually playing some nice stuff. Brilliant on TikTok.
Brilliant for marketing.
Can we just touch on that as well? Have you seen some of the adverts they've been putting out recently?
Yep.
BBC? That Fireball one's amazing.
Yep. Stephen Bunting would be unreal in the Premier League just for an entertainment value, and he is a good competitive darts player.
Stephen Bunting on TikTok's amazing.
Think about last season's Premier League with like the Luke Littler wave and Humphreys and everyone loving the last Premier League. It's probably, I'd imagine, the viewership was much higher than it has been previously.
I imagine the viewership for that World Final tops the previous two.
Definitely. And then if you'd have put Bunting in that Premier League as well, the viewership would have been unreal. Love Stephen Bunting.
We've got 50 seconds. Who are you chucking in the Premier League? Go on. Anyone.
Stephen
Bunting.
Bunting. He's got to go in there. Rattle the cage.
I'd love to just chuck someone in. I'd love to chuck Gian Van Veen in me. I think he's mint. He's only a young lad. His averages are great. His darts lie down flat, which is odd. And his darts are really long as well. He's dealt with dartitis, come back from it, and he's even better now. What's not to love about that?
Nah, let's go Bunting mental. That's what I say.
That's what we should do over Christmas. We're coming to the end of the show, and I think the message that we're pushing forward from Shock Sport is let's go Bunting mental over Christmas. Have a good one. Stay safe. Listen to us back in the new year. Corey will be back. I'll be back. All the rest will be back. Jodie, Tyler, all the rest who have been on over the past couple of months. We're very grateful to have you watching, and we're a thank you. This is your number one place to get all the sport. Keep it that way.
Merry Christmas.